Hello everybody, welcome to today's video, which is a mistake. So recently I got a comment on the video for my 5700 where users pointed out that I've actually messed up my wheel arrangement on the 5700, and I took a quick look at my design and compared it to the image which I was using, the plans, to see where it had all gone wrong. And lo and behold, I've discovered that the wheel at the rear of the locomotive has been built too far forwards, and it should be almost 2 bricks further back to be where it should be for the model. So yeah, big oopsie on my part there. So today I'm actually going to be dismantling this model, at least pulling the top half off and dismantling the chassis, and we're going to move this wheel further back to where it should be. I've already updated my digital instructions as well, so that they're now correct, and yeah, just try and fix this whole problem. Let's get started. There we go. I've now stripped down the locomotive to as small as I want to try and get it. I've managed to successfully keep all of my boiler and saddle tanks together, as well as all of the cab is also still ready to just be pushed back into place afterwards as well. So not too disastrous there. With all these smaller pieces out of the way, I can now go about stripping down this chassis and updating the parts. Mainly just around this back section here is the only place it changed. This all mostly stays as is, but yeah, I can now update this and start sorting out the problem. So we'll come back to that in a moment, and I shall show you once I have the wheels back into the correct alignment. Okay, after a little bit of work, I have now rebuilt the chassis. It doesn't really look visually that different, but you can see there is now a larger gap between these two wheels, and if we compare that to the model, you see that the axles are now in line with where those wheels should be as well. So this should be far better. Hopefully it's still going to go through points happily, and I'll test that in a moment. Okay, we're now up on the railway to do some testing for this through the points, and I've plugged in the circuit cube so we can just run the chassis as is. But I've just remembered a small problem, which is I'm now running at full power. I don't have connecting rods on, and this model relies on those connecting rods to transfer power to the wheels which have got the flanges on, and I haven't made any new connecting rods yet. So instead I'm just going to push this by hand, and we'll check that it runs through the points happily. So here we go, moving along. Cleared this first set with no problems. I'll change those and hopefully we'll glide through. Yeah, no worries whatsoever through these 104 points. And to be honest, I only ever intend on using 104s now for any railway stuff that I do. No problems there either through the Y switch. And let's try going up here as well. Yeah, again, no issues whatsoever. So moving that wheel set doesn't seem to have done anything to make the model run any worse than what it was. So next steps, I can put all of the bodywork, boiler and the tanks back on, and I just need to make up some new coupling rods and 3D print those. So I've now spent some time and printed out some connecting rods for the locomotive, but the first set came out layer shifted and warped and awful, and they didn't fit in the slightest. The second set that I made was too thin, but they were no longer warped or had any layer shifts. And then I realized that the diagram that I was referring to for the brick dimensions and the hole dimensions on Technic bricks was wrong. And I think it was just a poster that somebody made to make it look good, but all of the measurements were complete nonsense. So then I made a third set, and these ones were the correct hole size and they're pretty good for the height, etc. But I realized that the indent that is in the top of the hole, which accommodates the pin, I forgot to subtract that amount from the overall height as well, so the pins didn't actually fit in the things. But on the fourth attempt I managed to get them sorted out, and now I've got a new set of rods put onto the loco. And with that, my mistake of having the wheel in the wrong place is now fixed. Okay, whilst I'm editing this, I just wanted to quickly also mention that in the model I've now updated the method for building the dome so that it's using that medium wheel and a 3x3 dome piece. This does require to be painting the parts in order to achieve this effect, but I think it looks much better than having the simple 2x2 dome. Also, the filler caps for the saddle tanks have been moved forwards as well, so that they're better in line with the design that I had in the background, kind of using as my guide. And then, yeah, that makes this 5700, I think, fingers crossed until somebody tells me differently, complete. Let's go back to where we were in the video. And that's everything for today. It's great to see my 5700 class running again with its correct wheel spacing. The changes made today have now been reflected in the open L-gauge models, and you can download them now. If you're enjoying the content I'm putting out, why not consider subscribing, and also leave a like on the video. As always, please leave any comments below with questions or observations about the build, and I'll see you next week.